Hey guys, TommyBryson here. With everything going on right now, like Jeff Bezos getting divorced, Bill Gates getting divorced, people basically losing a ton of money because of marriage, the big question for today is basically, Tommy, is it ever a good idea to combine your finances? For example, if you're married, if you're in a long-term boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, or for example, if we just got started and we want to start early. So basically, you just got to know this person and they're your girlfriend or your boyfriend, okay? Is it ever a good idea to combine your finances? And by the way, the most popular answer is going to be no. But also, for example, the most popular things are not always the best things out there. Because by the way, in America, what is the most popular restaurant? The answer is obviously McDonald's. Is that the best restaurant? The answer is obviously no. It's Taco Bell, guys. Stop playing around, okay? But no, seriously, okay? In this video, I'm going to break down basically, is it a good idea to combine your finances? If you do, when do you do it? After you're married or before you're married? On top of that, also, if you are going to combine them, how do you do them in the right way to make sure you're moving towards the correct goal? In this video, I'm going to break everything down. And by the way, if you guys are new here, I post videos every single day, so make sure to also subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. On top of that, also destroying the like button. And by the way, if you want to call me and talk to me one-on-one, join me on my third channel, link down below, Ask TommyBryson. Now, the very first thing, guys, I do want to break down exactly, Tommy, what are the pros and what are the cons of going ahead and combining my finances with this person? You know, first, I like talking about the negative things, honestly, like the cons. So the cons are this, okay? First thing is micromanagement problems. If we have combined finances and I spend money on extra guac, I don't want to have a conversation about that. Well, in reality, I get that idea, but you set your budget together, right? So if you say, hey, we only talk about things once they're over $25 or $50 or $100, then in reality, you won't have that problem. On top of that also, Tommy, but what about if I'm the responsible one and they are the irresponsible one? Well, the answer is, again, if they don't know what they're doing, your job is to go ahead and help them understand. The goal is you're moving towards the same mission. But if they're very irresponsible, for example, gambling problem, addiction problem, then the real question is, why do you marry this person? Or for example, why are you with this person? I recommend marriage counseling for that, okay? Very important stuff. Also, Tommy, if you're putting your finances together with someone, in reality, that's your future attached to that person. So if, for example, they want to go ahead and spend all that money, all of a sudden, again, it all comes down to trust. So why would you marry someone you don't trust? And lastly, what if they do, for example, the Shazam trick? You know, ever heard about that? Shazam, magic. And that trick is basically, hey, Shazam, all the money is gone. Shazam, I disappeared, okay? Your wife is gone, your husband is gone, okay? Those are the main cons there, okay? Basically, not trusting. Also, for example, irresponsibility. And also, for example, very bad stuff like addiction, very irresponsible stuff, okay? However, though, it all comes down to this one thing here. And it's all about who you marry is going to be the most important decision, right? Because that's the entire point. You don't combine finances with someone you basically don't trust, and you don't marry someone or date someone when you basically don't trust them. That's the whole idea there. And by the way, there are three things here. You have the Hollywood way of marrying someone. Oh my gosh, I slipped, I dropped the book, or I just looked over here and I fell in love. Guess what? I'm gonna marry you in 2 months, okay? It's terrible, very stupid. However, there's the other idea to say, hey, well, Tommy, 50-50. 50% of people actually get divorced. The answer is yes, those odds are correct in America. However, do you think the average person is going out there and marrying someone the right way? Meaning, for example, hey, let's take some time to get to know each other fully. On these four main things here. Money, do we agree on that? Religion, do we agree on that? Also, kids, how many do you want? Imagine marrying someone and then finding out they don't want kids, or basically they do want kids, but you don't want kids. It's a headache. So why aren't you talking about that also? Also, in-laws. You're not just marrying that person, but also their whole family. So make sure basically you're on the same page with those things also, okay? It's about making sure that everything is in line. Also, going to pre-marriage counseling, very important. Reading books on, hey, here are questions to ask someone before you marry them. A great book I read with my fiance It's called The 23 Questions to Marry in Confidence Before You Actually Go Get Married. That book is amazing, and it answers you a lot of questions. But overall, it all comes down to who you actually marry. And if you do all things together, in reality, guess what? The odds of you getting divorced or things going super crazy wrong are very low, honestly. Now, Tommy, what are the pros of me going ahead and combining my finances with this person? Well, basically, you have a partner in crime now. Meaning, if you're trying to get to a goal, you get there twice as fast. The worst thing ever is basically you're doing this over here, completely separate from what I'm doing, and I'm doing this over here, completely separate from what you're doing. It just makes no sense. But if you guys are combined together, you ever heard the saying, two heads are better than one? That's the concept there. And by the way, the Bible says also, when you get married, you're combining two holes into one hole, right? Well, not holes, you know what I mean? I mean like holes as people and stuff, but that's the whole idea, right? You get to go after a mission together. It's also a lot more simple, and you're also executing trust, because by the way, if anything were to happen to you with that person you're married with, do you want to make sure you actually trust them enough to say, hey, here is what everything actually is, okay? By the way, my mom, my dad never did this. And by the way, they didn't get married the way I told you about getting married. So guess what? That also ended, for example, in a divorce. Also a statistic. The point is, you don't want to be a statistic, so do things the correct way. Do things in order. Use the whole dating phase to get to know that person. By the way, never get married in the first 18 months. Why? Scientifically, your brain is induced by this person. Meaning, for example, you're so attached to the point where you can't even see the negative things with this person. If you get married not know the negatives, that's a problem. It means you don't know that person well enough. No one out there is too perfect to the point where they don't have a problem, all right? Just making sure. Now, Tommy, if you sound like you're so big on this whole combining finances thing, well, why haven't you combined finances, for example, with your fiance or when she was actually your girlfriend? And by the way, I've been with my fiance for the past like 5 years almost, you know? And by the way, I learned all this stuff very recently, meaning I did things honestly the wrong way in the beginning. But the truth is basically, combining your finances with a long-term girlfriend or boyfriend, or even a fiance, for example, before you're married, is going to be a very stupid idea. Why? Because even if they're perfect and you fully trust them, if something happens to you, what happens with your money? Okay, what about your mom, your sister, and all those things? Because you have basically a joint account. They're the owner also, and you're the owner also. It can be a massive headache. So you want to have some legal standing to say, hey, if anything were to happen, here are the steps to actually take place. That's why usually you want to wait until you're married to actually go ahead and combine your finances. That is my opinion. That is what I recommend there. And you might say, Tommy, well, I have a very long-term relationship with this person. Well, in reality, why with someone for the past 9, 10, 20, 30 years and you're not married yet? Sounds kind of weird to me. And you might say, tell me, well, I don't believe in government, or for example, hey, I don't believe in paper. Paper does not define me. Well, by the way, if you don't, do me a favor, for example, and give me the deed to your house. It's just a paper. Or for example, can I have that paper you have with all the presidents on it? You know, this one right here, it's just paper, right? No, obviously it matters. It matters, it matters, it matters. So overall, don't just say, it's just a piece of paper, it's just this. In a way, it's going to protect the both of you. So that way, you're okay. Not because you don't trust him, but in reality, because if anything were to happen, you want to have legal standing. Meaning, if I die or she dies, we know exactly what's going to happen with that money. It just makes a lot more sense. And again, having combined finances means, hey, we can act together. So overall, I fully agree with combining your finances. I don't like the idea of, hey, we're going to combine it, but only on our bills like 50-50. That's just stupid. Like, it's basically you make money, but now that's our money. This money goes towards our mission. Now, I don't want you to leave this video only with my opinion. Okay, it's good, but how do I combine it is the question. So what do you do next if basically you do want to go ahead and combine your finances with your wife or your husband, not your boyfriend or your girlfriend? Not a good idea, okay? Not a good idea. However, how do you do it? Well, the answer is money has missions, but it also has jobs. What are the missions to money? Well, mission number one is basically you get out of debt, but first you save $1,000 for emergencies. And by the way, without even saying it, obviously you need to have a budget in place, okay? But these missions basically, hey, save 1K for emergencies and start paying off your debt using, for example, the avalanche method. Meaning, for example, you pay the debt that costs so much money by paying the debt that has, for example, the highest APR. You call in and find out which one it actually is. However, Tommy, what if she has all the debt and I don't have any debt? In reality, no, dummy. You both have that debt because, again, you are combined. You're actually married. So the faster you get out of debt, the better you actually are. And by the way, if I'm married with someone and they're struggling with debt, the answer is, why would I let them struggle with that by themselves? If I married them, it's because basically I agreed to say, hey, this is going to be ours, and I'm going to go ahead and help you with it also. Same thing, vice versa. If you're not comfortable with that stuff, then probably just don't get married with them. On top of that also, what's mission 2? Well, basically, you want to save for a full-blown emergency account, and if you want to invest, just invest a little. For example, just 1 to 5% into your retirement fund. But the main priority here is to say, hey, I want to save a full 3 to 6 months worth of emergencies, because that way, if she loses her job or you lose your job, the answer is this way you're going to be okay to take care of the expenses for at least 3 to 6 months. Mission 3 is going to be, hey, now that we're debt free and we have a full-blown emergency account, let's go ahead and save, for example, well, invest around 10 to 20%. If we have kids, an extra 5% for their 529 account for their college fund. But that's about it, just 10 to 20% or 25% potentially. However, the rest of the money you start saving up to buy a home, to buy a house, following, for example, the 33%. Meaning, for example, the home you buy cannot cost you more than 33% of your monthly income. So if you make $1,000 together, you cannot spend more than $333 a month on this home, including all the expenses like taxes, insurance, all of that stuff, okay? Now this means you save up for the down payment, 10-20%. On top of that, you get a 15-year mortgage, because the goal is basically to pay it off fast, not to have this mortgage for the next 20 to 30 years. That's not a good idea, okay? And by the way, my grandpa got married with his wife a long time ago, 30 years ago. They still have a mortgage, and they do everything separately. Again, it's kind of like you don't get to actually have focus to go ahead and tackle something very focused, okay? That's why you want to be together and tackle these things together. And if, by the way, if you get this mortgage the right way, like I'm telling you, with the home, only 30%, you should have extra money to go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to pay extra money towards the mortgage and finish, for example, in 8 to 10 years, a lot faster. And once you're done there, mission 4 is, hey, you enjoy freedom. Yes, you still invest at 10-20%, but now you get to have more fun. You get to give more money away or do whatever you actually want to do. Because by this point, hey, you have no debt, you have an emergency account, you have a paid off home, and your expenses are very low. And you still have a very good income, and you also have a very large investment account. It's just a lot more different. But those right there are the 4 missions. However, if you do them separately, imagine how much harder it's actually going to be. Almost nearly impossible. That's why it doesn't make sense to do things separately when you don't have to. Now, jobs. Tommy, what happens when we actually get paid? What do? The answer is, well, when you get paid money, you put all that money in one account. But the jobs money you have are very simple. You have emergency, right? Trying to save money up for emergencies. Once you have that money in mission 2, the answer is you put that money in a separate account. That way, neither of you are tempted to go ahead and use that money for anything else. Also, job 2 is going to be investment. Every time you get paid money, you grab a portion of that money, 10 to 20% or 25%, you send it over to your investment account. Okay, great. Then you have, for example, debt. It's a temporary job. In the beginning, you'll have it, mission 1. However, as you develop, you won't have it anymore. So eventually this job is going to become irrelevant. The goal is pay debt, but eventually you won't have any debt. Okay, so that is awesome. However, job 4 is going to be expenses. I hate the idea of saying, hey, you know what? Let's do things half-half, 50-50. When I make more than you do or vice versa, it makes no sense. So when we make money, it's all in one account. We use that money there to pay the expenses, and that's about it. By the way, try to make your expenses no more than 70% of your income. That should be awesome right there. Also, job 5 is going to be fun. You want to have fun, set money aside in a separate account just for fun. If you want to get your nails done, you want to go eat, you want to do this, that's great. And by the way, say for example, you have a micromanager problem. In reality, just say, hey, when it comes to $200, we talk about it. If it's less than that, we don't talk about it, okay? That way, there's not a discussion for every single penny you actually spent, because that way, it gets too annoying. Number 6 is charity. You give money with a charity if you want to do that. 10% is amazing. That's what I recommend. For that, we get to give money to charity also. And those are the missions and also the jobs of money. If you do things correctly, you will be on track to financial freedom very quickly, especially if you're doing things with 2 people. 1 person high income, okay, great. But 2 people, even low incomes, you're gonna get there also very quickly, very fast. And lastly, one thing I wanna mention is this, although I shouldn't in this video, it should be separate. However, Tommy, when is it okay to go out there and, for example, get a prenup? The answer is, well, usually 90% of people, 90, don't need one. Why? Because usually if you make 50K, she makes 40K or 30K or 60K, the answer is prenup don't make sense at that point, okay? However, the only time I recommend a prenup is basically when you have a very high unbalance of wealth. For example, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates got divorced. They're going to remarry a person with only, for example, 100K, 10K, or even $1 million. That is a massive imbalance. At that point, for example, you got to get a prenup to protect yourself because, again, you never know what's going to happen. At that point, you might become a target for someone trying to date you, especially, for example, widows and so on, like older ladies where people try to date them, very young men, to try to get their money. Getting a prenup at that stage is going to be okay as long as you have, for example, a massive imbalance of wealth. But these guys right here, very wealthy billionaires, didn't get a didn't get a prenup. Why? Because basically, when they met their spouses, guess what? They were on the same page, literally. So there's no need to get a prenup. If you're telling me, Tommy, well, I have a car I want to protect, or 20K I want to protect, the answer is, at that point, it doesn't matter that well. And at that point, if you're worried about that over the person you're going to marry, why marry them in the first place, okay? You got to trust that person also. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Comment down below and let me know, did this video help you in any way? Do you agree with me or do you disagree with me? Comment down below, I want to know. That's the point of this video, okay? As always, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. And if you want to call me, well, join me on my 3rd channel, TommyBryson, link down below, where I let you call me for 30 minutes. But again, calls are going to be restricted, so get in while you still can right now. And lastly, if you want to watch another video, here it is right here. Click my face right here and follow me on Instagram right here at TommyBryson. I only have one Instagram and that is it right here. As always, guys, peace.